use the table of integrals to evaluate the following integral. We have the definite integral going from 0 to 1 of x to the fourth times e to the negative x dx. Okay, so we can see that we have a function that's going to look like what we have here, which is number 97. We have a variable raised to an exponent times the exponential function e to the power of a times u. So let's go ahead, and we're looking at number 97. So we just need to determine what is a and what is n and what is u. Okay, so we know that a represents -1. We know that n represents 4. And we know that we have u, which is equal to x. So let's go ahead and take this first integral going from 0 to 1 of x to the fourth e to the negative x dx. So it's going to be 1 over -1, and then x to the fourth e to the negative x minus n, which is 4, over a, which is -1, times the integral of u, which is x to the power of n, which is 4 minus 1, and then e to the -1 times x, which is negative x, times du, and du is equal to dx. So therefore, if we simplify this, we get negative x to the fourth e to the negative x. Negative times a negative is going to give us a positive, so this is plus 4. Going from 0 to 1, x to the third power e to the negative x dx. Okay, so we applied 97, and now we're going to have to do it again for this integral right here. So let's move this over to give ourselves some more room. We have negative x to the fourth e to the negative x plus 4 times, so now we know that a is still -1. We know that u is still x. We know that du is equal to dx. And we also know that n is equal to 3. So now using 97 again, we have 1 over a, which is -1, times u, which is x to the power of n, which is 3, times e to the negative x, minus n, which is 3, over a, which is -1. Again, going from 0 to 1. And then this becomes x to the power of 3 minus 1 times e to the negative x, and that is dx. So let's go ahead and distribute. So we have negative x to the fourth e to the negative x, and let's see here. So if we distribute the 4 times -1 is going to give us -4 x to the third power e to the negative x. Since that becomes a positive, 4 times 3 is going to give us positive 12 times the integral going from 0 to 1 of x squared, which is 3 minus 1, e to the negative x dx. So now we're going to go ahead and do this again, where we know that again a is equal to negative 1, u is equal to x, n is equal to 2, and du is equal to dx. So now, again, using 97, we have negative x to the fourth e to the negative x minus 4 x cubed e to the negative x plus 12 times the integral. So again, using 97, it's 1 over a. So it's 1 over negative 1. And then that's x to the nth power. So that's u to the nth power. And n is 2. So that's squared. E to the negative x plus n, or actually minus, sorry, minus 2 over a, which is negative 1, and the integral going from 0 to 1 of x to the power of 2 minus 1 e to the negative x dx. And so now let's go ahead and simplify that. So we have negative x to the fourth e to the negative x minus 4x cubed e to the negative x. If we distribute the 12 to the negative 1, that becomes minus 12 x squared e to the negative x. That becomes a positive. So 12 times 2 over 1 is 24, so that's plus 24, going from 0 to 1 of x e to the negative x dx. Okay, now the next step is that we need to now clarify this one here. So if we take a look at 96, would represent this last one here. So let's go ahead and do that. So we have negative x to the fourth e to the negative x minus 4x cubed e to the negative x minus 12x squared e to the negative x plus 24 times, well, we know that a is negative 1. We know that u is x. We know that du is dx. So this is going to be times 1 over a squared, which is negative 1 squared, times a, which is negative 1, times u, which is x, minus 1, times e to the negative x. And then this entire thing is going to go from 0 to 1. So let's go ahead and simplify. So we have negative x to the fourth e to the negative x minus 4x cubed e to the negative x minus 12x squared e to the negative x. 24 times 1 is going to be plus 24 times negative x minus 1 e to the negative x, going from 0 to 1. So now let's go ahead and plug in our zeros and our ones. So the first one is going to be negative 1 to the 4th power. So that's negative 1 to the 4th power e to the negative 1. If we plug in 1 cubed, we get 1 cubed, which means we get minus 4 e to the negative 1 minus 12 e to the negative 1. And then this is 24 times negative 2 e to the negative 1. And we're going to subtract the following. So if we plug in 0 in for the first one, we get 0. Plug in 0 for the next one, we get 0. Plug in 0 for the next one, we get 0. And then this is going to be plus 24 times 0 minus 1, which is negative 1. And that's e to the 0. Okay, so if we factor out let's just go ahead and do this. We got negative e to the negative 1 minus 4e to the negative 1 minus 12e to the negative 1 minus 48e to the negative 1. Distribute the sign to that. Makes that plus 24e to the 0. So if we factor out a negative and then e to the negative 1, we have 1 plus 4 plus 12 plus 48 plus 24 times 1. So we would get 1 plus 4 plus 6, 12 plus 48 is 65. So if we write the positive number first, we have 24 times 1 minus 65 e to the negative 1 power.